Hello, baseball fans. Welcome back to the Buster Ball Podcast. My name is Billy B, and we're here to summarize the Giants' last series against Miami and the upcoming series against the Athletics. Well, to start off, the games against Miami aren't really worth talking about a whole lot because they lost all three of them. The highlight were Luis Ariz and Casey Schmidt. Those guys are probably the two most dependable players that the Giants have. Devers has seemed to been picking up a little bit offensively, which is cool. But besides that, the Giants were horrible against Miami. They lost all three games. So what the Giants are really having trouble with is a run differential. The first 3 months of the season, the Giants have a run differential of, I think, like 56. May was really bad for them. In May, they had a differential of 28 runs. In April, a differential of 21 runs, which put them, so far behind the eight ball in terms of standings and average. It's almost impossible to come back from. June, their run differential is 2 so far, about maybe 5 now. But anyway, so offensively they look like they're doing much better in terms of not getting blown out, but they're still losing games at a ridiculous rate. They are the last team in run one of the last teams in run differential. They're one of the worst team averages in terms of win-loss. Their production's really bad. Run created is really bad, and those are really important metrics. So anyway, so the Giants, super disappointing in this season. Their significant negative run differential is rooted really in a combination of historically poor offensive output, inconsistent starting pitching, and a recurring inability to score wins in high leverage situations. These struggles between the on-base average and runs created has really been the primary driver of the team's struggles. As of early May, June, the team's offensive metrics reflect a deep systematic failure. The team has struggled with a low team OPS around 645, ranking 29th in the major leagues, and a low walk rate, which severely limits their ability to sustain rallies, meaning they're just swinging at everything and not taking any walks. The individual performances, while players like Luis Ariz, who has a 122 run created and a 346 on-base average, and Casey Schmidt with a 135 runs created and a 365 on-base average, have provided the bright spots the broader lineup has failed to produce. The Giants ranked 30th in major leagues in home runs early in the season, fails to provide necessary slugging outcome to overcome their pitching deficits. Meaning, they need the big Kazami, to get those runs. They just give up, just hand them off. And also, the offense have struggled in critical spots, contributing to the team being shut out at a major league leading rate, failing to win games when trailing through 6 innings. They have a horrendous record. I think they only won one game when they're trailing going into the 6th inning. The pitching staff has struggled to keep games competitive, failing to provide stability needed to protect a struggling offense. The starting pitching, the rotation has been hampered by injury and poor performance, ranking 27th in ERA and 25th in runs, hits, innings pitched, WHIP. which is horrendous. Their fielding independent pitching stats, such as pitchers like Taylor Mail, it's a 6.04 ERA, and Adrian Hauser with a 5.73 ERA, have struggled to suppress runs, which has led to a high FIP, fielding independent pitching stat, across the rotation. Even with Logan Webb performing as an anchor, the lack of depth in the rotation has forced the bullpen to cover way too many innings. And the Giants have frequently squandered leads, showing a lack of, we could say, buoyancy in late inning high leverage situations where they've been unable to secure wins they should have won, which supermanes not getting people over the plate who are in scoring position when they're at the plate. Anybody on second base or third base, man, they just have a tough time getting them home. High leverage situations the Giants have just sucked in, man. Batting and pitching, almost across the board. So the defensive metrics also suggest that the team has struggled to provide support for their pitchers, further exacerbating the run differential. Specific players have seen significant regression in their fielding impact. For instance, some acquisitions have seen their fielding run value drop significantly, placing them in the lower percentiles of the league. The defensive inconsistencies have been exacerbated by roster turnover and the necessity of playing players out of their primary positions, leading to what, people now call the Giants as outfield chaos. And that's like Casey Schmidt out in left field. They need the guy to play because he's being such a good hitter. But he's willing to play anywhere. Right? That's crazy, man. But he has turned into a great left fielder. This guy's got a rocket for an arm. Anyway, I'm glad they're using him. Casey's my favorite player. So the real summary is the negative run differential is essentially a structural problem where the team lacks the offensive power to keep the pace and starting pitching depth to keep games within reach. So the Giants have struggled to gain momentum, failing to sweep series or maintain win streaks, which prevents them from offsetting losses with unlikely wins. They're just giving games away, and because the team isn't eligible for the draft lottery due to their status as a high revenue team, they packed the stadium to watch this terrible performance. They can't rely on tanking, to keep losing games to improve their draft position, adding pressure, to their current suckiness, which is a coaching problem. I think these guys are all good players, they're great athletes, but they're being coached improperly. Pitchers want to be taken out of the game, and they pout and they get pissed because that's not the right thing to do at the time. And then base runner guys who hit pulled out to run for someone faster, and they don't want to come off the field. This is disrespectful. Why should they give Tony Vitello any respect? He's just been a mess. So anyway, let's talk about the Athletics. So we got a 3-game series at Oracle starting today. The Athletics, so they enter, almost with a 500 record. They're second in their division. They're really a competitive team. The Giants are on 18 games out of, behind first place. They're 17 games below 500. Brutal. So the people we had to watch out for this series are Zach Geloff, their third baseman. He's really, really on a crazy hitting streak. And the guy Kurtz, the first baseman. The Giants they met earlier. They won the series 2-1. Let's hope that happens again. And so that's it's going to be a tough series. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants lose 2 games and only win 1. They're playing so poorly. And a sweep wouldn't be out of the question, of course, since we lead the league in sweeps. And after that, the Braves come into town for another probably brutal series, and we'll discuss that when the time comes. So thanks for listening. Have a great day. We want to hope our Giants do well. Thanks for listening. Go Giants.